Stand and let's read the word of the Lord, see how far we can get in this time. Is that all right, everybody? Here we go. Look at Matthew chapter 2. We're going to read verses 1 and 2 right now. Let's pick it up. Look at the person next to you and say, hey, man, I just want to encourage you to read. That's it. Say it to them real quick. You got it. Here we go. Now, here we go. Come on with me. Now, after was in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days the king, Magi, from the east, arrived in Jerusalem, saying, stop right there. Key words you need to know. We're talking about 4 words today. Word number 1. Somebody say it with me, Bethlehem. One more time. Good. Word number 2, Herod. Good. And Herod was a lowercase k. He was a king, but he wasn't the capital K. He was the lowercase. All right. Now, number 3 is the 3rd word, Magi. Everybody say Magi. Magi. All right. For those, just say wise men. You got it. So we have number 1, Bethlehem. Number 2, number 3, Magi. Good. From the east. And they arrived in Jerusalem. What did they say? Saying, next one. Clear it. Let's go. Next one, verse number 2. Ready? Where is King of the Jews? For we watch this now. Where is capital? He who's been born the real king, capital K, King of the Jews. For we saw his star. Now, notice this is his star. By the way, the Magi are the ones who go into astrology. The Magi are the ones who, when you go to your horoscope and when you go to read it this morning and you saw, it came from them, all right? It came from them. Now, I got a question for you. If the Magi is looking for the capital K king, the one who studies the stars, the one who knows Capricorn, if they are looking for the real king, then why are you still looking at the horoscope instead of looking for the real king? I wish I had a witness in here. I wish I did. You're going to make me read more than one verse. One more. I'm just going to go to one more, okay? Don't get me too excited because then I want to go more. Okay, last verse. Last verse. Verse number 3. Ready? When the lowercase k, okay, king heard this, stop right there. He was troubled. But then it says something else. Who else was troubled? That's not everybody. Everybody get it. Who else was troubled? Now hold on. Why is it that when the king, lowercase k, is troubled, everybody troubled? That's because when you have an insecure leader, anybody that comes on the scene that can lead, they feel threatened. And when they feel threatened, everything goes bad. So Herod is threatened by King Jesus. By the way, Herod only had kingship not based on blood, but based on title. We got today. Oh, I could preach that right there, all along. There are too many people that want leadership based on position and not based on influence. Lord have mercy. That ain't the sermon today. Leave me alone. He was troubled, and everybody else was troubled with him. Everybody is terrified because he knows he's not the legitimate king. And he's going to make a decision that all male should be killed just to figure out how to get rid of this king. I wonder if there's anybody here troubled because you're not getting your own way. When maybe it is that God is shaking things up so you can worship the real king today. My God, today, you may be seated. Don't get me started in this house. Ladies and gentlemen, as quickly as I can, I want you to remember 4 words. We're going to talk about Bethlehem. We're going to talk about Herod. We're going to talk about the teachers. And then we're going to talk about the Magi. We're going to talk about 4 things. We're going to talk about Bethlehem. We're going to talk about Herod. We're going to talk about the teachers. Scribes, Pharisees, just said teachers. And then we're going to talk about the Magi. Everybody ready? You just heard it. If you're under 18 and you went to a good school, then you should know what I just said. Let me give you one more time, and then I want you to say it back with me. We're going to talk about, number 1, Bethlehem. Number 2, Herod. Number 3, the teachers. And number 4, Magi. Okay, under 18, say it with me real quick so I know you have something to tell your mom when you go home today. What are we going to talk about again? Number 1, that's about 2% of you. Number 2, okay, that's the Frisco Independent School District. No, okay, I publicly want to apologize for, I'm obviously joking. All right, if you live in Frisco, or you can't fix it. Let's just go. We're talking about Bethlehem, and then we're talking about Herod, and then we're talking about teachers, and then we're talking about Magi. One more time, everybody together. Who we talking about? And then. Well done, Collin County. I see you. You're doing good today, Collin County. Let's talk about Bethlehem first, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me. Let me tell you something about Bethlehem. If you go back to the first use of the word Bethlehem, I'm going to trace it back so you can see what happened in Bethlehem. 4 things happened. I want you to go to your sermon notes if you don't have these. Let's pick it up. Number 1, go back to the other one for me. Number 1, it was a place of death. Why? Because Rachel died, first use, in Bethlehem. Then there was a wicked Levite. Levites are supposed to be the good guys. They're supposed to be the guys with the word of God. And then there's a wicked one in Judges chapter 17. Where did that take place? Bethlehem. Thirdly, there was famine. Ruth chapter 1. Where did that take place? Bethlehem. So you see death. Then you see a place of death, a place of darkness, a place of emptiness, and then it starts to shift. And the anointing of David, and now you have a sense of anticipation because something is about to come forth from Bethlehem that's really unique. David, he was the best king of the Jews, and he then pointed to Jesus, which is the king of the universe. And then a shift happened. Watch what happens now. Flip it over. Let's see what happens. So then Jesus, he came, and now he is king of all kings. And watch what he does. The place that was defined by emptiness, what does Jesus say? I am the bread of life. It was defined by famine before. Jesus comes and says, I am now the bread of life. Number 2, it was a place of darkness. What does Jesus come and say? I am the light of the world. Then it was a place of death. What does Jesus come to say? I am the resurrection and life. Wherever you find yourself today, Jesus Christ is the answer for any situation that you have in this place today. I'm just trying to help you. I'm only talking about Bethlehem, but I'm showing you what he does because he comes out of Bethlehem and changes the entire place. Why? Because that's who my king is, and that's who your king is. Micah chapter 5, verse 2. 700 years before Jesus shows up, what happens? The prophet suggests and prophesies that Jesus would come 700 years before he shows up. He prophesies and he shows up. Do you know why I believe Jesus today? It's really simple. Why do I believe Jesus? Because anybody that can predict their birth, their death, their resurrection, and then live to tell the tale about it, you find me one like that, and I'll worship him too. Until then, I got Jesus, and I'm hanging with the man called Jesus. I wish I had some more witnesses in here that were delighted about Jesus. The challenge in the text, however, Matthew chapter 2, is that we find the text is situated in the city of Jerusalem. And the problem that I have with the text is it's only 6 miles. You can walk it from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. But yet still 2 of the 3 people never cared to take the walk from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. Why would they not care to take the walk when they're going to consider who this is, which is Jesus? Why wouldn't they do that? Why? And that's what I want to answer today in this short time. Let's pick up first Herod. Why didn't Herod want to make the walk? You see, because Herod was your guy, and you need to know that Herod wanted to be his own ruler. He didn't want anybody to rule over him. Herod said, I am the king, and there will be no other king but me. What did Herod then do? Herod said this. If Herod was here today, here's what it would sound like. Herod would say, hey man, listen, I don't want him in my vicinity. He can't tell me what to do. which is what some of us are saying today. I don't want Jesus that much where he's telling me what to do through his word. I need him on the outskirts of my life so that he's not invading actually my life. If that's the case, then don't call Christmas Christmas, call it a holiday. Because really what you want to celebrate is you just want to celebrate the gifts, and you just want to celebrate the food, and you just want to celebrate the games. But you're really not here to celebrate Jesus the Christ. Let me help you out some more. You see, if he can't overrule you, then you aren't celebrating Christmas. If he can't silence you, then you aren't celebrating Christmas. If he can't say no when you want yes, then you aren't celebrating Christmas. If Jesus can't be the boss of you and around you, then you're not celebrating Christmas. You're celebrating you. King Herod did not want to celebrate Jesus because he did not want to share his throne. I wonder if there's anybody else here today that's saying, I don't want to share anything with Jesus. I'm building my own kingdom. I don't want Jesus to interrupt what I'm going to do. That's why Herod didn't make the walk. What was he following? He was following the star of himself. And there's some of us today that are so intoxicated with ourselves that the only star we want to follow is the star of you. That's the only star you want to follow. Just like Herod. I don't want Jesus. You can be on the outer loop. You just can't come to the downtown of my life. Because when you do that, you mess my life up, and I'm going to have to follow you when I don't want to, so I'm not going in that direction. But there's a second one. Not just Herod. There's a second one. These are the chief priests and the teachers, and they had something to say too. Here's what they said. They said, Jesus, look here. We think we know a little more than you. So because we study the scriptures, Jesus, we don't have to come and see you because we think we know more than you. And so they have a walk and a path to go down, 6 miles, and they decided, I'm not doing that, and I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why they did that, because maybe you're not walking to Bethlehem to make your heart a manger for the very same reason. Let's check it out today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we got to serve up today. First of all, let's start on this side today. First of all, let's start on this side. Maybe because you're intellectually lazy. Maybe what it really is you're saying, listen, man, I don't want to consider, I've seen the church thing, I've played the game before, I've seen y'all play that game, I'm not doing that. I don't want to even consider Jesus. I don't even want to look a little closer to see who Jesus really is. And could he really have come from God, and could he really is now seated on the right-hand side of the Father. So because you want to be intellectually lazy. But some of you don't get it, so let me help you out. You see, if you're like me, a lot of guys are going to get a gift tomorrow morning. And when you get that gift, gentlemen, here's what you finna do. You finna, don't finish my illustration. If you're going to get a gift, fellas, ladies, you do too sometimes, and you're going to get, this is a drone, right? So you get a drone, and what smart people really, really do is they go to the instructions first, and then they read it to see what they really need to do. But because many of us are intellectually lazy, we don't have no time for that. So we're going to just take it out, and we're going to say, all right, go, hook it, and then when it crashes, you're going to be like, can I get another one? Well, because you're intellectually lazy. This is what happened with the chief priests. This is what happened with the scribes. They could not, they heard about it, they knew the scriptures, but they would not examine it for themselves. Take the walk, the 6-mile walk, to go examine who Jesus was. And because they did not, they missed Jesus. My desire for you is not to miss the real meaning of Christmas by inviting you to examine who this baby Jesus really, really, really was. So let's take that one out and let's see what else we got. Let's go this one. Let's take that one out. Intellectually lazy. You say, Pastor, that's not me. Let's go to the second one. There's some of you that are culturally arrogant. Just straight up, culturally arrogant. Let me explain what that means. All that means that you know this one. If you've ever gone to another country, you know this one. Listen to me. Listen. If you've ever gone to another country and you're speaking English and they speak in another language, and let's say you went to Spain, they speak Spanish, you went to Italy, they speak Italian, and they're speaking Italian. And here's what happened to you. Listen to me. And you ever said to yourself, why these people can't just speak English? Why can't they just speak English? If you would, we could communicate more. Do you realize how arrogant that is? That we could get to a point where we want the world to speak our language and we would not even dare consider, maybe I need to use some kind of device to translate it, but we want to complain because they don't know ours. I'll give you one more about this. Culturally arrogant. That's what these Pharisees were. They thought, we know the truth. These people, these shepherds, these Magi, they don't know the truth. We are the ones who know all of the Torah. We are the ones who know Matthew, Mark, who know Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. We know it, they don't. Here's another one. One time, GM, they're building a car. And they wanted to build this car, and they thought the car would be cool. And they wanted a smaller car for a smaller market. And they thought, we can sell some in America, and we can sell some in Mexico. The name of the car was Nova. Nova. The car sales went great in America. The problem is, in Mexico, it didn't go so great. So everybody's wondering, why are the sales not high in Mexico? Well, who would buy a car if the name of the car means it doesn't go? Why would I buy a car if that's what a car means? You know what that's called? Culturally, say it with me, arrogant. Be careful that you're not ignoring Jesus because our culture that we live in, the culture that you grew up in, is saying to you, no, you don't want to do that. No, I didn't grow up going to church, Pastor. I didn't grow up going to any of this stuff. I met a guy about a week ago, and he's never been to church his whole life. And I said, what? You live in Texas, the Bible Belt? He said, never in my whole life. I said, bro, listen to me. Listen. You just got to go one time. Because you know what my job is? My job is to set up dates with you and Jesus. Because here's what I know. If you meet Jesus, you ain't never met somebody that loves you more than him. Ladies and gentlemen, all I'm inviting you to do today is just considering. That's number 2. But you say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's why they didn't take the walk. And that's why their light has been extinguished. Here's the last one, and then we're going home on this. They're spiritually indifferent. You know what spiritually indifferent means? Here's what it means. This is a simple one. Here's what it means. It means this. It means either, hey, man, you want some burgers or hot dog? I don't care. Hey, you want to go to the grocery store this morning or this afternoon? I don't care. You're just spiritually indifferent. You really don't care what happens because you already think you know so much. Could it be that you're not taking the 6-mile walk to Bethlehem because you're so spiritually you know what, man, I want to sprinkle a little bit of Buddhism. I want to sprinkle a little bit of crystal. I want to sprinkle a little bit of my zodiac sign. I want to sprinkle a little bit. And you just want a little bit of everything. But I'm here today to tell you that if the Magi, who focused on the stars to make their decisions, if they decided that we got to follow the real star, then why wouldn't you too? Then the third one is the Magi. You know, you got to realize that the Magi had to simply go through a 1-year journey to follow that star to get to where Jesus was. So they had to inconvenience themselves to come and worship Jesus. Now, let me talk to church people a little bit. If the Magi would inconvenience themselves to find a way to worship, then why you only come to church on Christmas and Easter? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. That's below the belt. My bad. But if they do all the work to navigate through all the seasons to find Jesus, then why won't you consider Jesus more than you have? You see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here to tell you, they came up with all the reasons in the world why we don't need to follow Jesus either. And so they extinguished their light. And they said, no, we'll stay. And they never had a relationship with Jesus. Here's my question. How about you? There are 3 stars you're going to follow. 1 of 3. Let's pick them up for me. 1 of 3 stars you're going to follow. Either you're going to follow the star of self like Herod did. The star of self. And all Herod did was say, I'm going to follow myself. The second one is you're going to follow the star of religion and the star of study. Or lastly, like the Magi, you're going to follow the star of Christ. The question on the floor, which star will you follow? Now, let's see if we can close. My mama did this deal. I didn't get it. To be honest with you, I still don't get it. But I grew up in a little country, y'all know it's called Jamaica, and she used to have these boxes, and she used to want to make these pretty boxes and put them in the front door so that when people are coming in, they'd be there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the boxes were really, really good looking, and she had bows and everything on it. And I said, Mama, them paper are expensive, and the box is, what happened if somebody steals it? She said, son, it's okay. It's okay if they steal it. It means they need a box. Then she says, but son, ain't nothing in the box. I said, so Mommy, the only reason you put it there is because you wanted the front door area to look gorgeous. She said, that's the only reason why we put it there. Now, on Christmas, you have all these boxes in the front that look good on the outside, but are empty on the inside. I wonder if there's anybody here today that right now you look real good on the outside, but if the truth be told, this Christmas it's going to find you empty, lonely, frustrated, trying to find meaning in life. All because on the outside, ooh, Louis V, ooh, you're looking real good. But the truth be told, you empty tonight. Can I tell you what I'm inviting you to? I'm inviting you to look good on the outside and look good on the inside. But the only way you can do that is if you know the creator Jesus. And when you know Jesus, he says, here's what he'll do. He will fill you with joy, unspeakable joy. Joy you ain't never, he'll fill you with peace that nobody can explain. He will fill you with hope and he'll fill you with love. And the invitation today is, will you consider following the star of Jesus? Will you consider taking the 6-mile walk to Bethlehem to consider who Jesus is? You want me to tell you what Christmas is really about? Take a look at it. Here we go. 5 things. They're all in your notes. Go to your sermon notes. You can see them. Here are the 5 things Christmas is really about. Don't let anybody else deceive you. This is what it's really about. You ready? You're going to shout them out with me. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Jesus enduring so we could have a... Come on, that's not all the campuses. Everybody say it with me together. Here we go. One more time. Jesus, a human birth so we could... Come on, somebody. Number 2, here's what Christmas is. What's Christmas? Christmas is Jesus, a stable, so we can one day inhabit an eternal. Come on, somebody. Number 3, what's Christmas really about? Number 3 is Jesus having an earthly mother, so we can have. Come on, somebody. Number 4, what's Christmas really about? Jesus becoming a slave, so we could. Come on, somebody. What's Christmas really about? Number 5, Jesus becoming poor so we might be. Is there anybody glad for Christmas on today? What he wants to know is, which star will you follow? So on your sermon notes or on the screen, if you're here today and you don't know Jesus, we just want to set you up with a date with him. So on the screen, all we want you to do is scan that QR code and then type the name Jesus. 469-609-1909. Everybody in this house, if you don't know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, we want to send you some information and have a conversation. All you need to do is text Jesus. If you're coming back to God and you're saying, God, I have been intellectually lazy, I've been culturally arrogant, I've been spiritually indifferent, and I want to adjust that and change it. I've been like Herod, wanting to build my own kingdom and not God's. Then I invite you today simply to take your phone out and type those numbers in and say, all you got to type in is there is Jesus. And what you're telling us is, I either want to know him personally, or I knew him, I walked away, and I want to come back to him. If that's you, then will you fill that out right now? Will those of you who are already saved, come on and give Jesus a round of applause for the Christmas that he's given us all. Yeah.